Welcome to the summoning piece today. Let's take a moment right now to remember all the people who have lost their lives to religious persecution around the world. Around the world. Yesterday and the day before, and sadly, it's time to summon peace. Welcome. So I'm still setting up. Today is USA Religious Freedom Day, but I have to admit, with the California wildfires, it's clear we don't really have freedom, and we don't have freedom of speech. Our First Amendment rights are being violated in the United States currently. But hopefully change will come. So let me find a place for you so you can watch as I finish setting up. It's a bit windy, which is wonderful, but it also adds to the complications. Okay. I'll show you in a second. Just wanted to get you started. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining, and there's a wonderful breeze. It's going to make a nice sound out here. Set up. As much as I'm going to. Used to having you so far away. Anyways, hi. I'm Maude in Art, and I'm also Susan Maude Blog, and I'm an artist, guitarist, mother, a peace As Susan, I'm a presidential candidate for the 2024 election. change this thing that we are forced into doing called registering to vote. There's no need to register to vote to have our vote counted. I'm a U.S. citizen. I walked in the door. I could have proved it. They didn't want to see my IDs. So I voted. They let me vote, but they didn't count it. They threw it out. That's unconstitutional. That's treason. I'm from West Virginia. The West Virginia Secretary of State at the time did that. Shame on West Virginia. Shame on our Secretary of State. Luckily, he didn't get voted in again, but I guess that's probably on purpose. He's trying to hide the fact that he knows how to manipulate the votes. And that's exactly what they did. They threw my vote out. So, anyway, I wonder how many other votes they threw out, you know? And that's just West Virginia. What about the other states? So I have a lawsuit pending with the Supreme Court, and they're supposed to act on it, I hope, sometime soon. Let's see what's going to happen. But, yeah, registering to vote. My Secretary of State back in 22 made a video about it. The same one who threw out my vote. He said that there were over 380,000 wrong names on the list. And that means that there was a lot of fraud. He didn't say how long they'd been on there, but I heard recently last year when Texas came out and declared they had over 1 million names that were wrong, or names of illegal people, who some of them had been voting since the 90s. There were 24 other states who were involved in this conspiracy of using fake names on the registering to vote list. And as far as I can tell, nothing happened. So the courts are also involved. And this is where the problem lies. We've been taken over, and the religious folks, the Christian fanaticals in our country, and they call them Christian nationals, we call them fanaticals. They don't want your opinion. They just want you to walk in the door and show that, like, somebody came in and voted. They're just going to manipulate your and my vote anyways, no matter what. So, the lawsuit says to have voting be more transparent. And I think this is important. It's the only way to move forward as a voting democracy, republic country. We know, we the people. That's what our Constitution says. It doesn't say we the Democrats and Republicans. It doesn't say we the West Virginians. It says we the people. I expect my vote to be counted. Not just that I can vote, but that it gets counted. Then the other thing that I expect too is, while I got into politics for peace, and that's what today's thing is about, peace between the religions. We don't really have peace between the religions because of the California wildfires are living proof of that. And then many other things that go on in our country right now. But the truth is that, you know, when I signed up to sort of make it official that I was a presidential candidate in the different states, some of the states even used the fact that you had to be registered to vote to have your vote counted. But I went to every state except for Alaska and Hawaii, and I had my passport with me, and I had my driver's license, and they didn't care. They didn't want to look at that. That wasn't good enough. I had to be registered to vote. But we know after this year, and I mean even after 22, when my Secretary of State came out and said that there were 380,000 wrong names on the West Virginia voters list, registering to vote list. I mean, I could be anybody. I could be a non-citizen running for president. I mean, it doesn't matter if my name is on that list because there are fraudulent names on the list. So it's a stupid rule to have. And I don't know why the states are doing that. They should ask every candidate to come in with a passport or a birth certificate to prove where they're born. I mean, I don't know. You're supposed to be a natural-born citizen, according to the Constitution. And you're supposed to be 14 years in the country, which I was. By the way, Hawaii had it wrong on their list for a long time. They said you had to live the last 14 years in the country, but that's not true. It's just 14 years in all you have to have lived in the USA. And then you have to be over 35. So I don't know why suddenly I have to be registered to vote. That's not in the Constitution. So that's, again, an obstacle that's unconstitutional that a lot of the states made. Then they also said that I had to have a vice president, which, according to the Constitution, you don't have to have a vice president. Now, they can make these rules for the corporations, and the corporations are the parties. Those are social clubs. They're actually lobbyists that want to lobby the country in a certain direction, and they're corporations. So, an individual shouldn't have to fulfill the same requirements as a corporation, because I'm a citizen. Corporations are not. Corporations, however, the states have a right to give those people extra rules. And instead of giving them extra rules, they actually write a blank check to them and let the people, whoever they want to be in running for their office, to do whatever they want to do. And this is really bizarre for me. I really just don't get the whole concept. We should be running as people, not as corporations. And so anyways, the other part is that the states require that the corporations provide electors that will say that they will be the electoral college from that state for them. And again, the Constitution doesn't say that. It says that the states have to pick their electors. So why do I have to provide somebody when the state, if the people in the state vote for me, they should just tell their electors, you have to vote for this person. Again, I'm not a corporation. I don't have to follow the corporate rules. So I don't know. I just, it's baffling to me. But the Democrats and Republicans have taken control of our country, and they are abusing it however they want to. So, let's see. Where can I begin? I'm gonna, I guess, make a little music right now, and then I'm gonna read some things to you. I need to finish setting up a little bit. I need to get a little more brightness on my phones here. So anyways, I want to first summon the Supreme Court. You need to act on my lawsuit. I'm really tired of saying this. There's got to be a way to get you to respond. Maybe this is it. to someplace where you can see what's going on. Got a little park bench. I didn't know how this was going to work out, so I hope it somehow goes okay. Are you still there? Okay. I guess you're seeing something, right? Or are you just seeing more trees? There, do you see? It's so bright I can't see you. Okay. I think I have somebody helping out. I like it when people participate. Stockholm syndrome. That's what today's summoning is about. Getting rid of it. So, U.S. women often talk about the glass ceiling. But the point is that if you're married to a Christian man, you have to do what he says. That's what the Bible says. So you're not really free. But to get free, you need to find a different religion. One that will allow you to do what you want and be your own person. So this is the biggest problem I've seen with the whole glass ceiling. Why we don't have any women presidents yet. I gave up my Christianity a long time ago. I feel sorry. I don't think I'm the only one. And if you want to join me, I highly recommend. men like it. If you want to achieve something on your own, you're going to have to give it up. That's what Stockholm Syndrome's all about. Being in love with your oppressor. It's time. That's okay. So, just randomly. Still alive? Good. Okay. So I wanted to record some of that, but my recording didn't take because I don't have enough memory on my phone. So I'm sorry about that. Some things here that I want to talk to you about. And I like butterflies. And they have a little butterfly garden. Butterflies weren't out, but they had some things there that resembled butterflies. Well, if you've been following me along at all, the Woodstock song has played a big part in my life. And there's a part of it that says turning bombers into butterflies. And I think that was Rosalind's inspiration, Jimmy's for their butterfly connection. And it's certainly mine. So I got little butterfly bells over here that are hopefully bringing peace. So before I get too far into anything, I want to just go over Stockholm Syndrome. And, I also want to mention that only about 10 years ago, Jimmy Carter noticed that we had a problem with our election system too. And it was even in the news, apparently, but nobody did anything about it. And it talks about financial corruption, which, if you heard anything about the U.S. elections this year, they were making astronomical numbers, and they were spending it. You know what? I finally figured it out. They were spending it on keeping people like me out of the news. It's not even so much hate between them this past year. It was more making sure that no other candidates, or only the candidates they wanted to be heard, had a voice. And that's not fair. That's bullying. Is that what the U.S. is about? Bullying? Is that acceptable from the Democrats and the Republicans? So, this is supposed to be about freedom from religion. It's not just freedom of religion. But as you know, as soon as we had people saying there was a God who made lightning, and a God who made earthquakes, and a God who made snow, and made all the crops die because it got so cold, there was somebody who was there to say, it's just part of life, it's normal. No God made it. And we need all the various weather patterns and things in the planet because we are a planet, and that's how planets move. So atheism is truthfully true atheism. Atheism where somebody's Christian or somebody says, now, and then they start doing bad things and calling themselves an atheist, and they say that the devil made them do it. That's not atheism. That's devil worshipping. That's something else. True atheism is the rejection of any form of deity. No thing did anything. It's just part of life, part of the earth. It's part of living on the planet. Although, with that said, I did hear that, we know how to make it rain and snow now. So we have that capabilities with airplanes to get up in the air and do something in the air to cause it to rain and snow. So we are somewhat becoming our own problem, our own issues, our own, I don't want to say the word, but deity. And it's where do we start? Where do we stop? We're getting too far ahead of ourselves, ahead of our capabilities, and I think this is a big issue. We also have eventually robots that will be very humanoid. And is this what we really want? Is this acceptable? Okay, so today is Religious Freedom Day in the USA. But that also means that you have the right to not have a religion. And that's what I choose. I do attend Unitarian Universalist services from time to time. I like to have interactions with people and hear different beliefs. And I really liked my Unitarian Universalist in Basel, Switzerland, but they're far away. And it's not possible to really continue with them at this point. But we would have, one Sunday a month, a get-together, where we would talk about important issues. And then it would be sort of an inspirational talk about something. And then we would share a meal together. And then we would come back and talk about the issue a bit more. And we had people from many religions there, not just Unitarian Universalist, and not just Jewish people, and not just Buddhists, and not just Christians. We had really a large variety, and people would come and go, and different topics would also bring others. It was a really good community, and I think it was very important in my time there. And then I think it opens your mind to different possibilities. So, Religious Freedom Day. Let's talk about that for a second. While recognizing the U.S. commemoration, take a broader look. Learn more about religious freedom in the United States and around the world. So, apparently PBS has something on their channel about freedoms. And this suggests that we learn about other faiths and our own. And, this is maybe what a lot of women realize, that Christianity says that, you have to follow the instructions of your husband. So you're not really an independent human if you're married to a Christian, or if you yourself are a Christian. And it's not just Christianity. It's also Judaism. It's also Islam. I don't know about Buddhism. But ladies, you need to learn about your own faith. And maybe it's time to have more Unitarian Universalist meetings where we can talk about philosophies and understandings. Because I think what's going on is we oppress others still. And we don't really have freedom to follow our own beliefs in the USA. I think I even had more freedom in Switzerland. There were people also oppressing me there, but yeah, I don't know. It could still be. Switzerland is very much connected. The Christians in Switzerland are very much connected to the Christians here in the USA. So maybe Switzerland's not the best example either of true freedom of religion. Around the world, religious restrictions continue to rise. According to the Pew Research, legislation, attitudes, and policies are rising globally in the last decade. Even those countries usually considered restrictive are increasing their limitations. When looking at countries with the most equality, they too show a change in policies and attitudes towards religious freedom. Religious freedom is a global concern, not only a national one. So yeah, I only know what the news said about Afghanistan and how women aren't supposed to even talk to each other. This is a huge problem. This is very disturbing, and I hope it's not true. But it's hard to know. It's hard to know because we're here and they're there. they're doing things like that to grown people. But, countries and kings and queens and religious organizations have done all sorts of terrible things to people. A long time ago, or maybe actually not so long ago, there were people who were being burned at the stake because they were thought of as witches, and witches was seen as a bad thing. I don't know if it's such a bad thing alive, but that happened here in the USA because of religion. It happened in Europe. It happens often, and it's not really appropriate. So, supposedly, we have the freedom of religion and the freedom from religion. The state does not have a right to impose their religious dogmas on us, but they're also not supposed to have religion. So this is what we supposedly have in the USA, but I'm not sure if we really have it. I think that we have a lot of Christian nationals who are fanatical, who've gotten into power, and who are restricting a lot of people from their religious freedoms because they have different beliefs or faiths or practice things differently. Our Native Americans also were restricted for so long. They've lost a lot of their history, a lot of their storytelling, and a lot of their rituals. And that's a real shame. People of different faiths have equal rights to practice their religion. That's how it should be. And we all have a right to be here. So it seems to be a human creation. And I mentioned before that it was to try to answer why we had earthquakes, why we had volcanoes, why we had mudslides. And it was sort of the way to answer everything. Why do we have the seasons? Why does it sometimes snow or rain a lot and other times not? And, it comes from not having knowledge, not having science. People came to religion. But then, it's a little windy. Then there came thoughts about, or people who were very good or had very good ideas, and they started to gain other people like listening to them, which is not a bad thing. We have some people like Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad who had some ideas about love and life and ways of living, which are good ideas for the most part. But then the people wrote about them and put in other things, I think, especially in like the Bibles that we have today. What was originally written is quite possibly in some areas completely different. And then for some reason we don't follow all the different chapters of the Bible that are possible. We've selected only a few, at least in the churches in the USA. So, I'm not quite sure how all this came to be. I know that men were in charge of these religions, and so they're very slanted towards beneficial things for men and not so beneficial things for women, a lot of them. And yeah, it's just, what can I say? Oppressive. That's the best way to say it. So, humanity, on our journey to becoming civilized, we've come up with many ways to try to understand our world. And how did it all happen? And I don't think we're quite intelligent enough to really have that answer just yet. I think we still have a long way to go before we know the how and why, or maybe we'll never know. But, right now we think civilized means, having a Tesla or having cell phones or having the right gym membership. And I don't know if that makes you civilized either. If we're having to join gyms to get exercise, it kind of means for me that we've done something wrong. Because truthfully, we are the human animal. And I know a lot of you are like, wow, animal. No, we're not that. But yes, we are. And I know that you're saying that because I used to be a Christian when I was younger, when I was a child. And I know how Christians feel about humans not being animals. And that animals are here for us to do whatever we want with them. And but truthfully, we are animals. And all these things that we're feeling in our lives are not necessary, truthfully. There's nothing wrong with getting out and walking in a park, or raking leaves, or going for a swim in a lake or an ocean, or, manually doing things. We've gotten to the point where, we could walk to some stores and do some shopping, but instead we hop in our car and we drive. And although that's nice and convenient when you have no time, but what's really better is to get out and walk and move your body. A lot of our medical ailments are because we're not moving enough, because we're sitting and staying put. So we're hurting ourselves. So my suggestion is that we need to start to respect ourselves first. We need to really start to get a little bit back into nature. Go for a walk. Take care of the trees around your neighborhood. Pick up trash. It's your planet too. It's your neighborhood. It's up to you. Help out your neighbor build their fence back that, got broken in the last storm or something. Use your body. We're not just meant to push papers around and to boss people around. We're meant to take care of ourselves. And another thing, well, I guess I said it all, because I have, like neighbors and earth, and that respect yourselves, and then respect the oceans and the water and the animals. Of course, respect your family and your neighbors and other people, and respect the earth. Doing that makes us civilized. Not using a car, not using a phone. These are just tools that we use at this time in our society. They have no bearing on whether we're civilized or not. If you really want to be civilized, taking care of the planet, taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, taking care of the people around you, that's being civilized. Being honest and truthful, that's being civilized. So, yeah, I covered that. Okay, then the other thing I want to say is that there's been recent talk too about the oaths that people say when they take political office. And I have to admit, I was a little surprised when I was in Plains, Georgia, and I saw a picture of Jimmy Carter. I can't remember whether he was becoming a senator or in the state legislature or something, but there were a group of people with their hands on a Bible, and they were saying their oath of office. And I think this is also part of the problem also with the medical industry, is that when you say an oath, it should be for you specifically to say it and promise it, like we see the president and the vice president doing. It shouldn't be a group effort. You are oathing yourself, you yourself, not as a group. So I don't at all accept anyone who says they took an oath if they took it as a group. You must individually say an oath or an affirmation. So there's a difference between oaths and affirmations. I also didn't know this until recently. So if you are a God believer, then you would say an oath. If you are a non-deity believer, so you don't believe in a God, then you do an affirmation. And what that means is at the end, one person swears to God and the other person swears to do the right thing by themselves, to be honorable. And I think I saved that. It was really well written. Let me see if I can find it. I don't think I did but you get the idea. So I think group oath taking or group affirmation taking is not authentic. It needs to be individual. So sorry, I'm trying to think of where I have all my information because I don't have it readily available.